The economy is crumbling, and if you think it's bad now, just wait, it could get a lot worse. With this presidential election looming, voters care about one thing more than anything else, and that's their wallets. According to this recent Rasmussen poll in Pennsylvania, which is a key swing state, the economy is the #1 concern for voters. So the Democrats have a serious problem because most Americans aren't exactly impressed with the state of the economy at this current moment. And I'm sure this will be a greater divide now that the Harris campaign is playing the black card, singling out black men as if they can actually do something at this current time, that the economy is starting to crumble. So that means more shenanigans and radical policies are coming our way. Let's talk about this. All right. So I want to take a quick minute and share some thoughts in reference to just some key indicators that I think is worth talking about, just because it paints a more realistic picture as to what's really happening in the mainstream economy, despite what the mainstream media will never tell us. And so when you put all these pieces together, it lets us know that things are definitely deteriorating faster than what even the government statistics are telling us at this point. So in this video here, I want to share with you just 10 things worth keeping an eye on. And as always, the goal is to share information with you, not scare you, but just keep you in the loop as to what's going on in hopes of you staying one step ahead of the masses, because it's amazing that 99.99% of people still don't know what the true state of the economy is. But then again, if you're tuned in here, you do. As always, if you guys want more of these little quick takes, hit that thumbs up button, drop a comment down below, share your thoughts on this video here, and let's get some dialogue in the comment section. Then of course, take this and share it so more people will have a chance to allow them to take at least 1 or 2 steps in a different pathway that can hopefully help them get different results. But simply, what's really going on and why should you care? It's not too hard to figure out. All signs are pointing to a massive economic downturn. And so I've been talking about this for quite some time now. And because it hasn't happened yet, that gives me more time to continue to warn people. So today we're going to take a look at 10 indicators that show just how much of a mess that we're in right now. And number 1 is unemployment claims are surging. They're at the highest level in more than a year. And so for the week ending on October 5th, initial jobless claims shot up to 258,000, which is a sharp increase from the 225,000 the week before. So a lot of people want to blame the storms or the strikes, but let's not pretend that these aren't problems that we were facing beforehand. This spike could be a sign that something more systemic is brewing. The second thing that's really starting to become obvious is that the middle class financial anxiety levels are at a record high as well. So a report from Primera shows that 55% of the middle class households now rate their financial situations as negative. So that's the worst it's been in 4 years. So the American dream seems like a distant fantasy for many, as financial anxiety spreads throughout the household that once considered themselves secure. And then due to a lack of security for a lot of people, the price of living the American dream is also going up substantially. And of course, everybody's financial situation and expectation and standard of living is different, but overall, according to those surveyed, people who thought that $1 million used to mean that you made it, they're thinking completely different now. And according to Investopedia, it costs $4.4 million over a lifetime to achieve what used to be considered the American dream, which is buying a house, raising kids, and taking vacations. And so for most Americans, that number is widely out of reach. And it underscores just how far the cost of living has spiraled out of control. And then when it comes to feeding yourself, even the potato industry is not doing that right now with French fries. So when you have the largest producer of French fries in North America cutting production and laying off workers, the things are getting bad. And so Lamps Weston is shuttering operations and slashing 400 jobs due to a slowdown in consumer demand. So French fries, which are an iconic staple for American fast food, are now victims of a slowing economy. And so if even comfort foods can't survive, what does that mean for the rest of the retail fast food chains in the days ahead? And then we talk about travel. And it looks like Boeing is laying off a good chunk of its workforce, which signals a deeper problem. We may not be traveling the way we used to in the past. As of now, 10% doesn't sound like a lot, but they've been laying off for quite some time now. So that's thousands of jobs that are gone. And so strikes and a shaky business environment are particularly to blame. This also highlights broader issues facing the manufacturing sector. So if Boeing can't keep its head above water, what hope is there for the smaller company in aviation or any other traveling service for that matter? And of course, we know that the lifeline of the economy is centered around the banks. And if the banks aren't doing well, then we got a real problem. And as of now, there's been more bank closures at a faster rate than the average person knows about. And so we know how banking used to be the bedrock of economic stability, but right now that don't seem to be the case. So over 700 local branches have shut down in the U.S. this year alone. In an effort when people are struggling financially, losing access to local banking services adds another layer of difficulty. As of now, at the current rate, we're looking at about 1,000 branches by the end of this year. And of course, this list right here are full of banks where it's very common for everybody to have some type of financial operations with these institutions here, whether it be Bank of America, U.S. Bank, or Wells Fargo, the bigger banks. But for some reason, they decided to shutter some branches, which means layoffs, less access to your cash, and eventually an entirely new model of banking, which is coming in the future. And that's just talking about the banks. Now you talk about any other line of business, and then we have a long-standing staples of stability that are filing for bankruptcy. So True Value, a hardware store brand that's been around for 75 years, has filed for bankruptcy. So this isn't just a random business failure. This is a sign that even long-lasting companies aren't immune to economic downturns. So when businesses with decades of experience can't make it, what chance do newcomers have in this current environment? And let's not forget that whenever you're in your car and you make a quick stop, you stop to a small little retail chain to grab some items, beverages or gum or something like that, or even gas. But now we got hundreds of 7-Elevens are closing. And so you think convenience stores are recession recession proof. That doesn't look like it. So 7-Eleven is closing hundreds of locations due to inflation and decrease in cigarette sales, among other reasons. So this is the kind of store that many people rely on for quick, cheap goods. But now even that's starting to slip away. If 7-Eleven can't survive, what does that mean for the other retail chains that's scattered throughout the country on corners at major intersections? And let's not forget the home building sector, because Home Depot is dumping warehouse space. So now the go-to for all home improvements is unloading 3.2 million square feet of warehouse space. So that's not a small number, to say the least. It's a glaring red flag. So if Home Depot is braced for hard times by shedding space, it's probably because they see rough waters ahead for the housing and the retail sector. And then lastly, everyone loves entertainment. And when you have Disney cutting jobs, things are serious, because Disney is one of the biggest entertainment companies in the world, and it's laying off workers. So around 300 employees in the U.S. have been let go, mostly from the corporate operations. But Disney is a cultural juggernaut. From everything to cartoons to movies to merchandise, you name it. People don't seem to have much discretionary spending to blow it on entertainment these days. But it doesn't help that they started having troubles the moment they went woke, because we all know you go woke, you go broke. But it's sad that even they're feeling the pinch of a cratering economy, which is leading to a shift into how people consume entertainment. Ultimately, what's the key takeaway here? That the signs are all around us and the economy is in deep trouble. It's whether it's layoffs, bankruptcy, or sky-high inflation, things are going in the wrong direction. And as this presidential election draws closer, the state of the economy could be the deciding factor for many voters. And so the question is, would any of these candidates actually address the problems ahead of us, or are they all bent upon delivering promises centered around tax cuts or handouts of a currency that's already lost 98% of its purchasing power in the same environment where gold has already indicated that all fiat currencies are failing? They're not talking about the purchasing power in our national currency. They're talking about the problem that they're responsible for. But more than likely, we're just going to keep watching the system crumble in slow motion, in my opinion. But one thing's for sure, if we don't turn things around or inform as many people as possible on what's at stake with their financial futures, we're going to be in for a world of hurt. That's why I continue to make these videos here, just to highlight what's going on, which presents the problems to you guys. And then in between that, trying to be a source of encouragement so people can realize that we can't consume at the rate we used to. We need to get back to some type of productive manner that can create some growth. And it will not happen at the national level. And it starts at the individual, which is you. It requires being intentional and looking for ways to add value in a world that's full of problems. There's multiple ways of doing it, but of course, everybody here who's tuning in and listen to the sound of my voice, you have something to offer. Hopefully you're tapping into it and then delivering it to the world, which puts you in a much better position than those who are used to just consuming it and using without reciprocating the same amount of energy back. But anyway, just take some minutes, share my thoughts, highlight some issues. And of course, from a financial standpoint, the solutions can be found in the description. You either have the Silver Team, where you can become actively involved in the silver community by protecting and preserving your wealth and helping others do the same, or the Goldbacks, which is the most affordable way to accumulate gold that will be a recipient of all this liquidity that's coming pretty soon. So, curious to hear your guys' thoughts. Drop a comment down below. We'd love to get some dialogue back and forth. And then take this, if you found value, share it so other people can find out what's really going on in real time. And I'll catch you guys later.